For those of you interested, stick around to the end of the video because I am going to flip through this. If you are curious and you want to peek inside, then you can stick around and kind of see like a silent flip of the magazine, so that way you get an up-close personal view. So, okay, enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back. So I have been wanting to make this video for the longest time. I kept putting it off because I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to go about it, but it's been too long. I really just want to talk about it with you all, and so that's what we're going to do today. So as you can see from the title or from the thumbnail maybe, I want to talk to you all about basically what's a literary magazine, more specifically a magazine dedicated to the romance book genre. Now sadly, let me just go ahead and put it out there, this magazine is no longer in publication. It closed its doors in 2018, but before that it had a hell of a run. So let's talk really quickly kind of about the origins and the backstory. So the title of the magazine, let me go ahead and hold one up for you, is called RT Book Reviews Magazine. So this is a literary magazine, like I said, where, like the title suggests, it's all about book reviews. There are some bookish articles, but more beyond that, it spotlights the romance genre. Obviously there are other book genres that it talks about, but for the most part, romance genre. Now, the RT portion actually stands for Romantic Times, and that was the original title when it first came out. It was started by a woman named Catherine Falk, who is essentially a staple in the romance community, and in 1981 she came out with a newsletter called Romantic Times, in which basically it was like a small version of this. There was only a few thousand subscribers, and it was just a newsletter dedicated to the romance genre with various book reviews, a couple of articles. And years later it ended up becoming a full-fledged magazine with, you know, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Every month there was a new edition, etc., etc. So the first issue came out in 1981, and from 81 to 2018, that's like almost 40 years worth of delicious romance specific magazine content, which makes me so happy. So really this video is kind of like my love for this magazine. I really wanted to talk about it. I wanted to share with you all this really cool I guess literary magazine. Literary magazine sounds a little highbrow, and that's not to belittle this at all, but really it's just this really solidified my love for the romance community. So let me tell you a little bit about how I came across this magazine, because you can see I've got like, I won't even pull them up now because I don't want my camera to topple over, but I've got like hundreds of these magazines. So basically, let me take you back to like 2014, maybe 2013. I was living in New York. I was in grad school for journalism, and we each had to basically find an internship for that summer. And I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I had poked around a couple of places, and as a book lover does, I was strolling around Barnes & Noble one afternoon, just kind of randomly browsing the magazine section, when I came across one of the magazines. And immediately I'm like, how did I never like find out about this? It seemed perfect for somebody like me. Again, it was all kind of book reviews, but in a very approachable way, nothing kind of too highbrow or taking itself too seriously. And then beyond that, it was talking about books that I love, the romance genre, which, as we all know as romance lovers, you know, it's a little bit of a tumultuous relationship depending on the audience. Sometimes you find stuff that kind of mocks romance, and then other times you find stuff that isn't necessarily quality. This was none of that. This was exactly what I wanted. And so I flipped through the magazine, and lo and behold, the place where it was actually being created was in Brooklyn. And I'm like, this is serendipity, because I'm here living in New York. I could potentially intern for this magazine over the summer. So I did a little bit of research. I reached out to somebody there, and fast forward, they accepted me as a summer intern. And so for that summer, that was like the best bookish summer, a book lover's dream, because essentially I got to read books for a living, at least for the summer, and got paid for it. Now, fast forward after that internship, I did go on to become a freelancer. Let me show you guys proof. I did go on to become a freelance book reviewer, and so I have multiple reviews that are printed in the magazine, so you can kind of see my name there. I don't know if it's focusing, but this was their November 2014 issue, coincidentally with my favorite Jill Shalvis on the cover. But yeah, 4 years after that, I went on to review books for the magazine until they closed their doors in 2018. So that's kind of my history with it. Now let's actually talk about what's in this magazine, what it's all about. So like I said, it focuses on book reviews, which you know, obviously nowadays you can turn to TikTok or Instagram, but that didn't exist back in the day. So you could go on Goodreads, but a lot of the times there wasn't really like a social media sharing of what somebody thinks of a book. And so that's why this magazine was so crucial, because you would essentially get reviews from people who also love the same kind of books as you, and not just like some random Joe Schmo assigned to a romance novel who doesn't really know romance novels. It was for readers, to readers, all of that kind of jazz. So anyway, let me just kind of flip through a couple of the pages for you guys, because I really want to show you what the meat and potatoes of the magazines typically look like. So what you're typically going to have are a handful of articles, and that can be ranging from a specific author writing something about their latest series, kind of like what went into it. It could be something about publishing. There was kind of like a series on how to get your book published, different trends happening in the romance genre as well, and then you'll dive into the actual book reviews. Now, the awesome thing about this is that all of the reviews were separated by subgenres. So you have historical romance reviews, then you have like YA book reviews, there's also mainstream fiction. Like I said, there are more books in here beyond just romance, but the real meat and potatoes is the romance genre. Let's see, every subgenre of romance, honestly, that you can think of. We have inspirational romance, we have romantic suspense, we have mystery and thriller, we have erotica, and then definitely can't forget series romance, aka category romance. So like your Harlequins, your what's it called, Mills and Boons, that kind of stuff. So you can see like the main bulk of the magazine, I don't know if you could see that, but the main bulk of it was the book reviews. And I just, oh my god, looking at this now brings back so much nostalgia. But okay, so the way that the book reviews were kind of set up was that you would have your pithy, quick little review, and then you'd have a summary of the book, and then it would of course tell you like the rating, the heat rating as well. And it's just, oh god, I love this magazine. I'm kind of flying all over the place, but I just really want to share with you guys just how awesome this is. I'm going to post a few more photos so that you can get like a closer look on my Instagram, so I'll be sure to link to that. But yeah, this is just such a cool magazine. So let me just kind of show you some covers over the years. Again, I have a bunch. This here is not even half of my collection, because one of the perks about being an intern, gotta get those out of the way. One of the perks about being an intern was that I got a free subscription. And so obviously while I was working there as both an intern and a freelancer, I got a subscription, or the monthly magazine, up until they closed. The lovely ladies there let me go through the archives, and so I was able to nab nearly almost every magazine, at least going back 5 years prior, before I was even there. So I got both like backlist at the time as well as current magazines, which is why my collection is so large. And you can best believe that when I went home, I would just leaf through these magazines all the time, because it really just made me excited about books. For those of you, I mean obviously those of you because you're watching this video, but you all know that like when it comes to being a book lover, there are different facets of the hobby. You read books, obviously, you collect books, and then like you talk about bookish things, or you collect bookish things, and this magazine falls into that category because I love love, for someone who doesn't typically read reviews, I loved reading the reviews of this magazine, kind of getting inspired for what to read next. I had like an endless TBR thanks to this magazine, because I would automatically add a bunch of books that seemed interesting based on the review. One of the things that I also want to talk about that was a major part of this magazine's brand was the RT Booklovers Convention. Now this, just as long as a magazine, well, not just as long, but for a while, there was this huge romance lovers convention brought on by them. Honestly, and I could be wrong, but I want to say they were the ones that kind of like kick-started the whole romance genre convention. But every year they would have this huge convention in some kind of major city where for a few days fans, authors, publicists, all of those people in the publishing world would get together and just harp on their love for the romance genre. So you would have like games and events and giveaways and talks and little competitions and breakfasts and everything like that. And it was my dream to always go to one, and I never got a chance, which I'm so devastated about. And I know there have been like subsequent romance conventions after that, but like honestly, I'm sure they could never hold a candle to this original one. Like I said, it stopped in 2018. That was the last event that they had, and then at that event they mentioned that the magazine would also be closing. So here we are, you know, years later, and I'm still thinking about this. There's no way I'm ever giving these magazines up because I cherish them and I love them so much. I tried to find these on Amazon and eBay. I believe that you can pick up maybe an issue or two or maybe a lot on eBay. It's been a while since I looked, but like I highly recommend it. There's no way I'm giving my collection up. I'm sorry, I can't share, but if you ever have the opportunity and it seems really interesting, I urge you to at least buy one edition if you can, just for like the nostalgia and like how awesome it was. Oh, okay, so here's something that's really funny. So, and I just thought about this because I saw it on the back of the magazine. So Julianne Walker, she has this really famous, well-known romantic suspense book series that came out a while ago, her Black Knight series, which you can kind of see all here at the bottom. So I actually reviewed this series. Like every time one of the books came out, I was the reviewer for it. And so once the book hit the bestseller list, you know how they'll have like pull quotes inside the book talking about their previous books. Wouldn't you know it, your girl's review was a pull quote in the book. Like how awesome is that? Now granted, it wasn't my name because they tagged the magazine as being the one for the quote, but it was my words that I wrote, and like I just thought that was so cool. This was an author, this was actually probably my first kind of like author relationship, because I think she had done a giveaway for me or something like that, because I kind of got in touch with her once my review came out. But like I thought that was so cool. And again, all of these books, once they like came out with a new one every year, the person in charge of handing out the book reviews would automatically assign it to me because they know how much I like the series, and just like the continuity of the review would make sense. But oh my gosh, this just brings back so many good memories, guys. I don't even know what else to say other than just, again, fangirling over these books, or excuse me, these magazines. And like, if you're not a romance lover, or like, you might not get it, and I totally understand, but like, I wanted to show them off for you because I just thought they were just so fun. And what's interesting about it, looking back, is seeing when things were a trend, things that technically might be kind of old now. They were talked about as new and upcoming trends in the magazine. So like perfect example was steampunk. I don't know if that's still as much of a thing now, but I remember vividly at the time the whole steampunk genre becoming really popular, and there was an article all about steampunk and kind of like its explanation, and different books that spotlighted kind of like the steampunk setting. So that was really fun. Another thing was, let me see. Oh, okay, zombies. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was also a thing. I think it happened maybe like after Twilight, because obviously that really made vampires a little bit more accessible in the romance genre. A little. I know, don't come at me. I know obviously there's other more famous and well done series when it comes to vampires, but all that to say, zombies came after that in the paranormal subgenre. Let me see what else. Okay, so okay, Bridget, oh God, Bridget, I remember this so much. And then Karen Marie Moaning, her series was super popular. And so it's just really funny. Oh, okay, Sony versus Kindle, which e-reader is best for you? You guys, I don't even think Sony makes an e-reader anymore. Kindle comes out on top. So that just goes to show you, this is August 2009, just like how fun it is to travel through time and see kind of like how the bookish world progresses. So when the magazine shut down, TikTok definitely wasn't a thing. Instagram, maybe was a thing, but it wasn't as popular as it was now to have its own kind of like romance or bookish niche. What was a thing was Twitter. And I think there was still space to have a book review magazine, because on Twitter people really just kind of talked out their thoughts, and there wasn't as much of a social media community as there is today. So again, this was still kind of relevant. So these are basically when they take a book cover and make that the magazine cover, which I always thought was super beautiful to look at, because it's just kind of like a blown up version of the book cover. So like these historical romance novels are prime for that kind of thing. Yeah, so super fun. There's one last thing that I say, and I swear I'll stop. So with the category romance, since we know there's so many that come out, what they would do every month is have like a roundup on one page. So that way, if you collect them, you would have this checklist basically to go off of as a reference guide. So that way you'll know at a glance who the author is, what the titles are, so you'll never miss any. So anyway, I know this video was all over the place, but I really wanted to show you my collection. Hopefully you guys understand why I fangirl about it so much. I just absolutely love it. It's one of those critical things that I vividly remember, or that has a permanent spot kind of like in my bookish life, not only as a romance reader, but as a reader in general. And I'm just so grateful for this magazine, for coming across it all those years, becoming an intern, being able to, having the opportunity to be a reviewer for it. I'm so sad that it closed, but I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to collect all of these and now share it with you all. So anyway, if you've ever heard of this magazine, let me know in the comments so we can talk about it. I actually met a few of my current friends thanks to that magazine, because they were also working there as both colleagues and interns, and it's just a good time all around. So like I said, I am going to post photos of this on my Instagram or my stories, so look out for those if you want to see more of an inside peek. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. I will talk to you all later. Happy reading. Bye!